Fern Gully, Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and the Borrowers series were all around me as I grew up. I've always loved looking at things from a different perspective, be it through the eyes of a dragon or from the size of an ant. Smalland: Survive the Wilds is a game that takes the survival and crafting genre down to only an inch or two, but that doesn't mean they aren't thinking big. Their recent roadmap has some exciting features to come to this early access game. I am particularly interested in the expanded mount interactions, as there are a few creatures in this game that you can not only tame but also ride and fight alongside. If this game sounds like it might be interesting to you, keep listening and maybe win yourself a free copy just as the game launches into early access on the 29th of March. I have thus far played over 30 hours of the game and still have a way to go to see and do everything. I have to remind you and myself that this game is in early access and is far from complete, but that hasn't stopped Merge from making sure that this early access is one we can really enjoy. I have suffered no crashes, only gotten stuck once when I tried to take a shortcut, and on the whole have just really enjoyed my time exploring this world. Now, it's not without its flaws. The building is very flexible, even featuring rotation, but it can be a pain to find snap points, and I would like it if there was a way to turn off collision. Tames are also not what you might expect if you come from something like Ark. They will always follow you and really do their own thing when you're not riding them. There are also only 4 possible mount options in the game at the moment, with also a non-mountable carry pet, and you can only have one tame at a time, thus have to dismiss your new friend if you want another. That said, I do like the direction they're going with the tames, particularly with what's mentioned on the roadmap. They clearly want players to have more of a connection with their companion, rather than just see them as cannon fodder. There are also more mounts and creatures coming in the future, so I'm excited to see what those will be. One feature I love is the ability to claim one of the many trees around the map. With easy travel from root to canopy, you can build your home safely up in the branches. But the best part is, if you claim a different tree, your base will move with you, resources and all. This makes for a fantastic way to never feel forced to rebuild your home, just because you want to spend some time in another area. And that's something you will be doing a lot, as there are so many different biomes to explore, each with their own resources and creatures. The cherry on the top of this feature is you are not just limited to doing this in your own world. Hop on over to your friend's game and claim a tree there to find your base and equipment waiting for you, meaning you can play solo but still join up with friends and reap the rewards without having to spend time gearing up or unlocking things again. Combat is fun and so far seems to scale well, though I really need to get better at blocking and dodging. The different weapon damage types mean you really have to know your enemy and what's effective against them. PvP is a planned feature, but the devs clearly wanted to make sure they had a solid game first. You can, however, turn friendly fire on in your game if you want to have a bit of a fight with friends. Servers are also not implemented yet, with players needing to host from their own games. However, the base transfer feature mentioned before streamlines this. Games are also limited to only 10 people at a time, but there is no leash or restriction as to where players can go. When it comes to the story, it's bare bones at the moment. There are NPCs around the world to find, and they have quests, new armor sets and recipes to give you, but I'm hoping in the future they get a little bit more personality to match just how good they look. Some of the NPCs will even craft armour with wings, which give the ability to glide, a fantastic way to get around the world, particularly with how easy it is to gain height via the great trees. I almost forgot to mention the weather and seasons. While this is mostly a cosmetic feature at the moment, the weather will impact your comfort. If you get too cold or hot, you may need to change your armour or drink some potions to stay healthy. Thankfully, the roadmap says there will be more improvements to the weather and seasons, so we can hope to see them play more of a role. The storms are another matter. You'll get a warning when one's incoming and the music will change, and you had better make sure you find yourself cover quickly. They don't last long, but if you're caught without shelter, you're not going to survive. Speaking of death, it's handled quite well, with you dropping all but your clothing and whatever tool was in your hand at the time, but these can be collected from a grave marker that you will find on your map. All in all, my personal opinion, I think Smalland is doing a fantastic job for its early access, and I'm certainly going to be playing it and making some handy guides. If you want to join in on this tiny adventure, subscribe and pop a comment down below with the phrase "Survive the Wild" somewhere in it, and you'll be put into a live draw for Wednesday for a chance to win a free copy of the game. This draw will use a name wheel to make sure it's completely at random so that everyone has a chance. I will let you know when your comment has been added, and only comments before the draw starts on Wednesday the 29th, 2 PM GMT or 9 AM EST. Good luck everyone, and see you all soon, Smallanders.